Can you see that patch? It's quite a lot. And I didn't plant any of it. I have a whole bunch of zucchini that has just volunteered, and I really wasn't planning on planting zucchini because of the squash bugs, but I've been checking. Yeah, there's no squash bugs yet, but I know that they're coming. I just know that they're coming. I just wanted to show you just some quick ways of how I use up the zucchini, because even though I didn't plant the zucchini, I have so much of it, and I have a couple ways that I use tons and tons of zucchini. So if you also are drowning in zucchini, whether you planted it or not, here are some ways that I like to use zucchini. Let's go. Let me show you just how big the zucchini is. Can you see that patch? Yeah, that's zucchini, that's pumpkins. It's a lot. It's quite a lot. And I didn't plant any of it, but I do, obviously compost everything. So I think that's why. But right now, oh my gosh, I always do this. I always turn my pan on and forget about it. But
So for my favorite breakfast skillet, I always start with some kind of squash. I dice that up not too finely, and then I always add some of my garlic, my own homegrown garlic, and that just adds a nice flavor pop and then also with some great health benefits.
so I have some zucchini or some kind of mystery squash in there. And then I have some parsley that I keep under like a little dome in my fridge with a little bit of water. Seems to work well. Keep it nice. So I'm gonna put that on top. I usually have 3 eggs. I keep the shells on a little tray in my oven so I can give them back to the chickens after they've toasted a little bit. This has Aleppo pepper, sesame seeds, granulated orange peel, poppy seed, nori flakes, cayenne pepper, ground ginger, and a little bit of orange oil. I wish it were spicier, honestly, but it's quite good. Then I'm just going to add a bunch of the parsley on top, and then I'm going to cover it up. This goes back in the oven. I'm going to cut myself a delicious slice of crusty sourdough. This is just so good. Always one for me and always one for my daughter. By this point, I think I've overcooked my eggs. Yeah. I like when the squash is still a little bit al dente, a little bit crunchy still. This is one of my favorite ways to use up zucchini. Have a beautiful, delicious, and healthy brunch.
This is such a fantastic way to start the day, and it's pretty cool to think that almost everything on my plate came from about 40 feet that way towards the garden. I did have some parsley that I planted, but it's not quite up to snuff. But I am so excited to have just a big bumper crop of something that I did not even plant. I didn't want to really grow or a lot of squash because the squash bugs are honestly pretty terrible around me and they just decimate the plant and they kind of make me really grossed out to go into the garden. So for this mystery squash, I am not entirely sure what it's crossed with, but it's pretty great. It tastes wonderful. I also have a ton of tomatoes. The tomatoes I did plant, and those are getting their own video, and they've definitely earned it. And I want to give you a little trellis update too. I did make my own tomato trellises this year with it's called remesh sheet. I think you'll be surprised, but the full update is coming on that. So make sure you're subscribed, and look out for that video. But I'm pretty happy with how everything is coming along in the garden. And these annuals, this hanging pot that I got from my mother-in-law, I think it was for Mother's Day, I eventually cut it back. It was incredibly leggy, and it just responded so well. So I invite you all to cut back things that look terrible and keep it watered, and it will do that. So I'm very happy with it. But yeah, this giant patch is right next to my compost pile, and things that I don't plant tend to do the best. You just kind of ignore it a little bit. It's kind of more like managing it than harvesting. So I'm just going to try to use as much of the squash as I possibly can without tiring out my family with too much zucchini bread. But I do have a great zucchini bread recipe that I'm going to share with you. And it is wonderful because it does use up about 3 to 4 to 5. You can really kind of mess with that number. 3 to 4 to 5 cups of shredded zucchini. And I have a great way that I do shred the zucchini, and it takes very little time. So I will share that with you. But yeah, this zucchini is just going gangbusters from out of my compost. So it's quite fun to go out there and search for them, but they do get gigantic rather quickly. I am quite enjoying these pots on my deck. I have these geraniums that I actually propagated myself. They were so easy, and a little chipmunk is making its home underneath this one, so I tried to cage it with this cloche that I made, and it didn't work. So I think we're just friends now, and it's actually not disturbing the roots too much, so we're just going to leave it at that. I have all my seed dahlias coming up. My kids seeded a bunch of salvia in here, which is doing really well. And I have this tiny little pepper plant, which has one little chili pepper on there, which is so sweet. But I do always make sure to wash all of my squash pretty well. Something was nibbling on one of them right there, but if you wash it well enough, I'm sure it's fine. And I just cut that part out. But I do have so much squash that I'll just give it away. I know it's kind of a trope at this point, giving away zucchini, but I like to harvest them if I can pretty small, and then those are the ones that I like to use up in my skillets in the morning. I like to use the small ones to eat with dinner, and then I use the big ones, and I cut out a lot of the seeds, and I use mostly just the flesh for the other recipes. And I also love this method of processing a lot of zucchini at once. So this is my Cuisinart. I think it's a 14-cup food processor, and it has a grating attachment to it. And that is the easiest way to get a lot of this processed at once. I do this for carrots if I'm doing a bunch of carrot cake or something. I use it for my zucchini. I use the grating function for cheese if I'm, grating my own cheese. So don't sleep on that attachment. I really love it, and it's worth learning how yours works if you have one. If you don't, just obviously use a hand grater. It works just fine. So to be honest, this is my mom's recipe, and I'm not really sure where she got it, but it is a great one because, as you can see, it says 3 cups of shredded zucchini, but I used about 5 and they only get better. So feel free to use as much zucchini as you have, and I really I pointed out before, but I really just don't like those recipes that use 1 cup or 2 cups of zucchini. That is not enough. And I think this one is quite a gem. These also freeze extremely well. These can also be made into loaves, or they make about 24 muffins, and these are easily doubled. And a lot of pantry staples as well. So they're just wonderful and quite moist, delicious, and the kids and the adults go crazy for them. So you're gonna just shred the zucchini. It's going to be a ton of zucchini, and this you can keep in a bag in your fridge, and that's what I do. I just kind of throw it into whatever I'm making. More on that later. But this is like up to 4 to 5 cups of shredded zucchini in one batch. That's really the reason why I wanted to share this recipe. Nothing else I've ever made puts a dent in the pile of zucchini like this recipe. Nobody can tell that these are zucchini. You can't taste any zucchini. You can't really even see it, and it breaks down incredibly well. So don't be afraid to serve these to your toddlers, as they're 5 servings of vegetables a day. These were a great hit, and a trick to get the batter into the muffin tins without a lot of mess is just to use like a cookie scoop. Portion it out. But yeah, I got 24 muffins and then a little bit more. So I ended up just greasing a couple of Pyrex dishes, and those make just a little bit bigger muffins, but they cooked very easily, and they used up the bit of extra batter I had. It is quite amazing that, not having planted any of the zucchini, I am overburdened by this zucchini plant, but I know that my chickens love it as well. So these giant ones, you can just cut open if the rind is a little bit tough, or I just toss them in there and the chickens love them. These muffins were a big hit, and they were a big hit when I was little. They're a big hit now. I highly encourage you to maybe screenshot the recipe, and if you want, I can put it down in the description box below. They are that good. While those bake, I'm going to tackle these dishes and think of new ways to use this zucchini. This one I kind of made up as I went along. So for the base, I just started with some butter and flour, which is a roux, and it's basically a bechamel, except instead of milk, I went veggie broth, and that kind of makes like a cream of chicken or cream of vegetable soup. You can use chicken broth if you want. So it's really good and a really yummy, creamy base for soups or stews or sauces. So to that base, I added a little bit of my garlic scape pesto, which I used kind of as a sofrito, so just a flavor bomb or a flavor base on top of which you can build the whole thing, and rather than like a finishing sauce, which the garlic scape pesto kind of seems like it should be used as.
Wow. Delightful.
I like to use the garlic scapes for my hardneck garlic, and I like to make this pesto And my mom had this really great idea too. She saw somewhere that instead of using those little ice cube trays and then you have to divvy it out and then you have to pop it open, you just freeze it in blobs, you know? You just take a big sheet pan and you put blobs of whatever you have, like the pesto or things like that, and then you freeze it. And then those blobs can just go right into a bag and be used like that. And it's a little bit easier than individual little ice cubes. And I feel like they would melt easily, more easily. I'm not sure. Anyway, so for this pasta, the shredded zucchini goes into the kind of the base creamy mixture. Then it melts into the sauce. So that's really the trick. The zucchini kind of almost disappears into it, and you can cook this for a lot longer as well, and it will cook down into that. So it's going to cook down. I added leftover spiral pasta that already had red sauce in it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't look maybe the best, but this was like tricolor pasta. It was amazing. It was so delicious. I think I finished it with a little bit of Parmesan. It was not going to win any beauty contest, but it was delicious. I served it alongside of a little tomato salad with just fresh tomatoes and a little drizzle of good balsamic vinegar and olive oil, a little salt and pepper. So delicious. So let me know your favorite ways of using tons of zucchini. Is it breads? I made a whole bunch of zucchini lasagna when I was visiting my family out in Idaho, and that was a big hit too. My gosh, I love grilled zucchini. Maybe I'll have to make some grilled zucchini. But I like to grill it, I like to bake it, I like to fry it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to give this one a big thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.